It has been months of back and forth concerning the demands of the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) and the Trade Union Congress (TUC) on the minimum wage. Over the weekend, the Organised Labour Union issued a fresh 615,000 demand as the new minimum wage for Nigerian workers to the federal government to absorb the economic realities affecting citizens and the country. The union says the current minimum wage of 30,000 naira can no longer cater for the well-being of an average Nigerian worker, adding that not all governors are paying the current wage award, which will expire by April, 5 years after the Minimum Wage Act of 2019 was signed by former President Muhammadu Buhari. The act is to be reviewed every 5 years to meet up with contemporary economic demands of workers. The union thereby calls on the administration of President Bola Tinubu to hasten the upward review of wage awards. Joining us this morning is Theophilus Akatugba. He's a media practitioner and a social political commentator. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. It's been quite a journey with the Nigerian Labour Congress, demanding and rightfully the increase. Many would argue that's rightful, the increase in the minimum wage, seeing how the cost of living has increased on all fronts. But they initially said 1 million naira. Now they've come back to 615,000. When they said 1 million, many argued that it was not a possible or a foreseeable reality. Is 615,000 possible? Is it something that Nigeria can afford?
Thank you for the opportunity to be here and to share my thoughts on the issue of minimum wage. The truth is the Labour is having a meeting by itself and making proposals. I thought that they should not salivate their workers for nothing. 650, it's an outlandish request, something that is completely out of the way. It's not realistic, it's nationally and state-wise. But they will get something, but not 650. That I'm very sure. It doesn't make any economic sense. It's not practicable because minimum wage is not for federal workers alone. It's for both state workers and even private sector. And if you look at the inflationary rate that spiked as a result of fuel subsidy removal, the dollar spike, which of course you see mellowing down. And so if we take a knee-jerk reaction, just react because the dollar has moved and the minimum wage is 1 million, then the dollar comes down, minimum wage therefore goes down. There must be a realistic conversation, and that is what the Labour has not done. Labour's figures are flying all around. We need that committee that has been set up by the federal government and Labour to come to a congress of opinion, an agreement. Then they can talk to the public about what they think. But I believe they will get an increase because the current minimum wage, as you said, has expired as of 2024, has already expired. Therefore, there is a very serious and critical need to review the Nigerian minimum wage. If you look at it, what is the reason why people live below poverty? They say below $2. And so every government must smartly look at, okay, we review that slightly above $2. And then we say the minimum wage is a living wage. And so, in my opinion, they will get something, but not 650.
What is a figure you think would be more realistic? You know, if the NLC hopes to get.
Okay, I thought we'll come to that later, but I am looking at 90,000. Okay. I'm looking at 90,000, maximum of 120.
So is this 90,000 factoring? Because I was trying to do the calculation now. Is the 90,000 factoring the slightly over $2 a day?
Yes, that's. I'm looking at also the inflationary trend, yeah, the rate, and the cost of living spike, and the increment in various sectors in the economy, especially electricity or the fuel subsidy.
People on Band A need more than 90,000.
Exactly.
Yes, you see, the 90,000, whoever lives around Band A now, it's not a person who's earning 30,000 minimum wage. It's not at the lowest edge of the wage. Because minimum wage means 30,000. That's the basis. A lot of people live in various opulent societies and communities that are really top notch. So that's the consideration. But okay, I know some retirees and all of that still live in areas. I learned that people who in some estates around your studio are holding meetings to see how they can be moved to Band F. Band B, band. People are now asking to be moved out of that premium band.
Okay, you've talked about the more logical, more realistic figure, yes, being around 90,000, even though they are currently demanding for 615,000 naira a month. Let's look at the NLC and how it's handled matters concerning the Nigerian workers. Would you say that the NLC has been a body that or the NLC is a body that the government actually respects and recognizes, or would you say that the NLC has failed the Nigerian worker?
Over the years, the NLC has lost its voice, and it started losing its voice gradually by compromising its position. Sometimes they come with a hardline position and it dissipates without the benefits of the reason why they came up with that position. That has affected the NLC's voice over the years. So, and because the NLC seems to always agitate for reduction of prices, and anytime any aspect of government is about to increase a price, that's when they spike. They never agitate for good governance. They never really agitate for improved work conduct in terms of output of workers. They've never fought any organization for and then ask their workers within those organizations to improve their service delivery. And so when you see the pattern of their fight, you cannot always say you can't increase this price without considering the input, the cost of generating electricity, the cost of distributing and transmitting. Have you looked at those figures? Is this an unrealistic request? Are we paying the right cost for electricity in Nigeria? Have you come to this conclusion before you always agitate? So when you agitate only in one direction, people begin to wonder if you really mean well for the general development of the country, because the country belongs to all of us. And if you are NLC, you must also be seen to championing the greater good of the country. And you also demand great output from your workers, so that because a combination of improved work, hard work that produces a progressive nation and economic development. So you can't continue to say, don't reduce this, don't reduce that. Oh, this has gone up, we must get more. You keep asking for more, but what are you putting on the table for Nigerians to appreciate? And also recently, when the Labour started dabbling, when they created the Labour Party, and they are now going to own it, they were keeping a safe distance until now said, you resign, is our party. So government will say, oh, so you're actually a political party, and so whatever you are doing is colored in political lenses. That was why the president said that they are not the only voice of the country, because they have become a political organization, or they own a political party seeking also for the office of the president.
There's a huge,
that was obviously going to, bite them back at some point, but, there's arguments, as to whether this is Joe Ajero's mishandling of the body, or the NLC generally has just, lost track or lost direction in a few years. But before you speak on that, I want us to talk more on the 90,000 naira. And, is this from your own personal analysis that you think this would work best? There's the Nigerian Salaries and Wages Commission, I think, which is also meant to play a role in setting, the right salary scale. With what you've seen, private sector, state government, local government, the federal government, can't they do better than 90,000?
I do not see the possibility. First of all, Nigeria, you have to generate the revenue before you can spend. And if you look at our revenue, has been very, very abysmal. It's just now, we're now beginning to see some spike, some increase in revenue. The revenue is improving. Don't forget that all of the combination of all the revenue losses that we experience in all corruption points lead to low revenue for the country generally. Yeah. And all of these people are also members of the NLC. And so there is a very big need. You see, many states, if you approve 90,000 today, I can assure you, more than half of the states in Nigeria will struggle. And this is why some school of thought believe that there should be a national benchmark, but every state should be allowed to tinker around the national minimum wage based on their capacity. And it will not be fair also to say that somebody who live in Zamfara or live in Yobe will earn the same salary with somebody who live in Lagos, where prices and cost of living is significantly different.
Same thing with the private sector.
Yes, the same thing. So I believe that with the national minimum wage fix, states should be allowed to determine their own with negotiation with their workers based on prevailing realities in their environment.
Don't you then start to see like a massive influx of Nigerians into certain states, maybe the states that pay higher? I would assume that Lagos and Abuja will pay higher.
Yes, but you also consider the cost upon you. You'll see people even move to where they are paying lower, where cost and conditions of living are better.
Very true.
Yeah.
And this 90,000 that you're suggesting, with where we are, do you think that the Nigerian government will be open to that sort of suggestion? Because that will triple what is currently obtainable.
Yes, because first, the current minimum wage has expired. The expiration of a minimum wage doesn't mean that it will always go up. It could also go down if economic conditions are very good. The cost of living is manageable, is attractive, is nice, is good. But in this particular case, everything seems to have gone up over the years. The cost of all items, everywhere subsidies have managed to cushion impact on people, has been removed so that those areas can perform optimally. The cost of electricity increment for Band A is just to tell and prove to Nigerians that the Band A works, and there's possibility of 24 hours of electricity if the right prices are paid. The Band B, C, D will also come into the fray very soon.
But there's an increment everywhere. It's not just Band A.
No, it's Band A, really.
There's no Band A?
It's only Band A. The other people are still going
I don't think I'm
to
on Band A, but I'm currently paying 225.
No, you're on Band A, effectively. That means you were not on Band A, but you were moved to Band A so that they can save you.
I don't get 20 hours of electricity.
No,
Well,
I'm sure you get if you do the tabulation. You have not checked it properly, because if you get light over the night, it's almost 12 hours.
It's like, what's going on here? Because I mean, if you are being charged Band A and you're not getting Band A services, there's a problem. You can make a report. We saw something like that in Abuja where they were overcharged and then they were asked
to refund. Yeah.
So, yes.
I don't want to drag, the argument,
bill,
but I know what my
my
reality
bill was showing Class B until this announcement, and when I bought, later I was told that we have been moved to Band A. And I am testifying that where I live, we have 23 minimum.
I would need to make an official complaint. That's what it means. Because
Yes,
I know I don't get 20 hours of
Please,
electricity.
you can tabulate that
sure
and make the report. They are bound to offer you 20 hours. That is the idea, 20 hours.
My line went off at 3 a.m. this morning.
Is that your unit, your electricity unit, or
No. I mean,
No, that was a general light out. General light out. They suffer some setback. That's what I because I normally follow them.
Experience the light out?
Yes,
at 3 a.m.
Yes, at 3 a.m. It's still running. They tried to bring it back. They took it back again.
Okay.
Might be neighbors.
So what is the future?
I like what's going on. You see, I have always, when I came back to Nigeria, I knew that Nigerians, the cushion on Nigerians was going to hurt us in future. I knew that we were not paying the right prices. Nigerian governments in the past were managing poverty. They were developing and growing poverty. You know what you call people live erroneously as if you are wealthy, whereas you are not paying the right prices for goods and services. Everything was, a hotelier was running his diesel generators with subsidized diesel and petroleum, and transporters were running across the country. And so you paid lower transport costs, lower hotel rates, and all of that. Now, when governments decided to say, okay, we can't afford this anymore, everyone has to pick its bills, this is when you begin to see impact on citizens that lead ultimately to higher productivity. Because it was easy to be laid back and feel that you are comfortable. Right. So there will be more efficiency. We as citizens have to be demanding on service providers so that they don't look back at you and say, have you paid the right prices? No. That's why, just like you are saying, if you don't get 20 hours of electricity, you have to shout and shout. But the implication of 20 hours is that it will tell on your unit's consumption. So,
well, to be honest, I would rather been in Band A and know that I'm getting constant power supply than the epileptic
you will soon be in Band A.
That I'm buying fuel
every day. Or you move to areas where Band A is effective.
Well, do I have Band A rings? That's another thing. Anyway, on a final note, what would you say is the future of work? What are some of the areas that the NLC need to focus on? There are people who talk about how multinationals only import their own expatriates to fill in the key positions, and Nigerians are not given as much treatment as they should be given here in Nigeria. These are some of the complaints we hear workers talk about. So what would you say are some of the key priority areas, the priority areas that NLC needs to focus on? That's of course not excluding the minimum wage conversation.
I think the NLC should be less political. Even if they have bias for a particular political party, they should as much as possible, separate the office of the president of the NLC from the activities of their political party and undue interference. Another thing they should do is that they should begin to have a different and new orientation for national development, not only antagonistic stance and position. Each time an agency say we want to, no, you have to be more engaging. You have to also, just like you are asking for a minimum wage for yourself, you should also look at the minimum cost input in businesses and service delivery. So I believe the NLC must be more compliant in the global system that we operate today, not only an agitator or those who say they must always fight the government.
Or those who call strike and then go to close down meeting and after that.
So just answer the Joe Ajero question. Is this all he's doing, or is it the NLC generally that has just lost track?
The NLC has not really lost track. It's just that they've gotten involved in things that seems to have drowned their voice and made because you see, every time they say they want to do a national strike, they are not able to mobilize nationally. Yeah. That tells you that there's something wrong in the issues they are pursuing. They have to be sure that these issues are they do broad negotiation and have a general national consensus instead of having what you call a divided house most of the time. Yep. And so I believe they are still on course. I like Joe Ajero, I like his hardline stance sometimes, spitting fire, breathing, but engaging, understanding the issues is the most important way to be an agitator. If you don't understand it and you just run into town and agitate, you lose the crowd. You lose the people that are supposed to support you.
All right, brilliant.
Theophilus Akatugba, thank you so much for your time with us this morning. Hopefully the next time we're talking, we've seen a review in the minimum wage and then we can start to look at other areas.
Yes, and then but don't forget that that will also be met with increments in other areas. The landlords will increase their prices.
I don't think Nigerians have problems paying for services.
So let me
not speak generally, but as long as the services are available, good roads, great infrastructure, healthcare, education, let that be available. I think Nigerians will make adjustments with paying for
Absolutely. And these are continuous conversations we'll keep looking at.